All right, now we're going to do multiple offers and the seller. So here we go again. So a hot market. So a hot market can be defined as one where homes are selling really quickly, measured by low days on market, and where the houses are getting a lot of attention from buyers. And we can measure that number by the number of showings and page views on listings, and also virtual tour statistics. But a hot market is an extremely competitive market, and it's advantageous to the seller. Sometimes homes will sell as soon as they are listed or even before, and typically during a hot market, multiple offers will be made on homes, and more often than not, homes will sell for more than the asking price. So what is a hot market? Well, a hot market, as you guys all know, is low inventory and high demand. So this is one of those times when multiple offers, once again, is a very hot topic. I suspect that most of you have had to deal with multiple offers over the last few years, both here in Austin and San Antonio. But now over the last about a month, 4 or 5 weeks since the pent-up readiness of the COVID holdup has opened its gates, I thought it would be a good time to review some of the basics in handling multiple offers. Might be helpful. So first off, everybody, let's acknowledge that dealing with multiple offers can be difficult, frustrating, and if mishandled, it can result in angry parties who, unfortunately may file grievances against people, or in some instances even resort to litigation, and we don't want that to happen. So it's difficult to impossible to develop really hard and fast rules on how to handle multiple offers. There's just too many variations from one situation to the next. But what I will tell you is communication and making all parties feel that they have been treated fairly is the key. So today we're just going to go over some of the basic procedures that I think will be helpful in guiding you. So address multiple offer situations early. I think being proactive in addressing the potential for multiple offers, especially when you're in a market such as the current one, when you take a listing, explain to the seller that it is possible that multiple offers may be received and that they will need to determine how to respond to those offers. It's also important, I think, right now for the sellers, if you do think you're going to have one of those hot properties, for the sellers to have all their ducks in a row and be diligent in getting the necessary paperwork done, have them getting it done and turned into you so that you can proactively have it in the MLS documents when your listing goes active. Because I know as a listing agent, I like when I get everything back. I want the seller's, disclosure all signed. I want them to have initialed the survey. I want the T47 back. If there's any mud notices, I just want it all back so that we're looking at a complete package. And then the other thing that I think most important in this situation is find out if the sellers have any favorable conditions that are important to them when it comes to selling their home. Of course, price, the highest price in the least amount of time is always their number one, lots of times objections, but are there some exceptions? Are they going to take, the curtains or the light fixture that they love in the foyer or anything like that? Find out those things so that it can all be documented and it can be put out there. Do they need a lease back? Have they found another place to live, or would a lease back be really helpful? What is their closing? What is their preferred closing date? Is it really quick, or would they like it to, be pushed out a little bit? And then, of course, do they have a preferred title company? Lots of time us agents kind of pick that because we know who will get the job done for us, but sometimes they have a preferred title company as well. So if the situation is going to arise, how will multiple offers be handled? And it's important to go over some of these different techniques with them, and have your strategy sort of in place up front. So explain the various ways that they may be dealt with. For example, are they just going to accept the first offer and kind of negotiate that first and put all the others to the side? Will you all have a preset date and time where buyers just know up front? Meaning, are you going to put in the comments in MLS that, you know, all offers will be presented on, you know, Monday, July 3rd at 3 p.m. Maybe you're setting that up. Informing all potential purchasers that other offers are on the table, and maybe inviting them to make their best and final offer by noon. So that would be, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we've gotten a couple offers in. I don't know if you like any of these, but we can certainly let everybody know that they're in a multiple offer situation and have them resubmit their best and final. So maybe that's the way you go. Or maybe it's a more formal invitation where you use the TAR form, or the TXR form 1926, which is a invitation to resubmit, and it's much more formal, but maybe you're going to use that form and you're going to let everybody know what will motivate your sellers to pick their offer. So maybe that close date or that lease back, or knowing that there's some exceptions. So it's just important to explain also all the pluses and minuses of each of those approaches. So patience may result in an even better offer. You know, inviting each offer to make their best offer may produce better offers than what we currently have on the table. So if the seller can be patient, that may be something, but it also may discourage, if you go back and do best and final, it may discourage offers, and it may result in them pursuing other properties or walking away because they don't want to be in a multiple offer situation. So, you know, it's really important to let sellers know that, you know, the decision is theirs on how they want you to proceed, and whether counter offers will be made, and ultimately which offer is the best one, or if any will be accepted. Those are all decisions that are made by the seller, not the listing broker. And I think it's just really important to explain that your advice is just that, okay? My advice comes from my past experience, but it can't guarantee what the buyers of this situation are going to do. Does that make sense? If you're going to use that more formal approach, this is the form. This is that TXR form 1926, and it's a seller invitation to buyer to submit a new offer. And this is not a counter offer, as you'll see down there on number 3. This communication and invitation is not a counter offer at all. That the property remains, you know, on the market, and the seller may consider other offers and accept other offers. But if they have those favorable conditions, as you can see there in the spaces under number 2, you can actually write those favorable conditions. So some agents, you know, will, you know, we may send an email to all the agents and blind copy everybody. It's just really important that what you do for one, you do for everybody when it comes to communication. So if you blind copy all the agents and say, just wanted to let you know, you're under a multiple offer situation on 123 Main Street. You're welcome to leave the offer that you have submitted. I can hang on to that, or we're giving everyone the opportunity to submit their best and final, and my clients are going to look at everything tomorrow at like 5 p.m. and you can do it that way. Or you can actually fill out this seller invitation and send it back. But ultimately, it's the seller's decision on how they want to proceed. But that form is there if you want to use it. So communication is key. When exactly are you in a multiple offer situation? Okay, because agents have come and said to me, oh, I've got an offer on the table and I've got one coming in. I guess I should tell the other agent that I've got another offer. Well, you don't have another offer yet, and a lot of things can happen. I'm sure that there's some agents on this call where you've gotten a call and someone said to you, I'm sending you an offer, and then you waited and no offer ever came, right? I mean, that happens. People change their mind and you never see the offer, and agents don't call you back and communicate that they're not sending you one. So you are in a multiple offer situation once the listing agent has 2 delivered offers. When you have 2 offers in your inbox, in your hands, then you're in a multiple offer situation. Up until then, you are not in a multiple offer situation, okay? You might think you're going to be in one, but you're not in one until you have two in hand. Communication is just key. The Code of Ethics obligates realtors to be honest with all parties, to present offers and counteroffers quickly and objectively, and to cooperate with other brokers. Cooperation involves sharing of relevant information. So frequently, frustrations and misunderstandings result when cooperating brokers are unaware of the status of their offers that they've presented on behalf of their buyer clients. So listing brokers really should make reasonable efforts to keep buyer representatives up to date on the status of offers and give them that timeline. You all know when you're working with buyers and you submit something, they are so excited and they just want to know what the answer is going to be. And, you know, they're sitting on pins and needles and they're calling, you know, and they want to know. And, you know, if I was a buyer's agent, I want to be able to give them an answer and some reassurance. So you, as a listing agent in a multiple offer situation, please be just clear and precise as to timelines and what your folks, how your people are going to treat multiple offers and how it's going to work. Just communication is just key. I don't think you can over communicate in this situation. So watch out. Don't let your sellers get tripped up on just price. There are a number of blanks in the 1 to 4 family and all the addenda that goes with it. And sometimes the best price doesn't always mean the best offer. So I think it's really important when you are presenting offers to cover the gamut of what the terms are. So don't let them get just tripped up on price, because sometimes price means nothing if they don't actually put their money where their mouth is, right? So show us the money. Show us the money. If they're gonna overbid and all of that, we want to make sure that you know that the money is guaranteed, right? So, you know, the things that I would look for in a multiple offer situation and guide my people on are, did they use the buyer's right to terminate due to appraisal? And we're going to go over that. You know, did they put their money where their mouth is? Are they willing to pay the extra money that they're overbidding, that the house probably won't appraise? Proof of funds, if they're cash, let's make sure that all of their proof of funds are actually in order. Another thing to watch out for is a local lender. You know, is it somebody local? You know, I know that if I'm in a multiple offer situation and I'm working with Premier, they're local. I can talk to them. They have to look me in the eye. You know, I know I have a guarantee that I can get a hold of them. You know, I've had sellers turn people away because their lender was on the internet somewhere and you can't get a hold of people. So, you know, those are things to look out for. Is it a local lender? Did they submit proof of funds? Can you talk to the lender? Is the lender responsive to you? Those are all things that are going to matter when it comes time. Proof of funds, I just saw a question pop up. So if it's a cash deal, proof of funds would be a bank statement that is up to date. They can go on and they can print that right off from their bank. Or if they're using, you know, a 401k, or maybe they're cashing out some stocks or something like that, you can get a letter from the stockbroker saying that they have the funds and that they'll be delivered. Okay. So this is the addendum for concerning the right to terminate due to lender's appraisal. And this one is, if this second box here says that the buyer will bring the extra money that's needed. So for example, let's say you are on a, the house is listed for $350. Okay, it's $350,000, and maybe they've offered $360,000. So in order for the buyers to put their money where their mouth is, they would come on here, they would check box number 2. And what I always tell my people is, look, they have it listed for $350, then the house should appraise for $350. So we're going to go ahead and put $350 on that line in box number 2. And that says that the house needs to appraise for $350. That's what you have it listed for. Our offer price is $360. So what that paragraph is saying is that any money above, you know, if it appraises at $350, we have to bring $10,000 extra to the table. Because look, a deal can fall through if people don't use that and put their money where their where their mouth is. If somebody offers 10 grand over list and it doesn't appraise, then they've got the third party financing addendum that says they can walk away, right? Well, make sure that you're protecting your seller, and that if buyers are overbidding and they're putting out a whole, they're well above the asking price, that you guys are covered. Does that make sense? Yes, I absolutely would request that if I'm in a multiple offer situation as the listing agent, in order to protect my seller and people have way overbid, if it's cash, then they're going to show me the proof of funds. But if it's with a lender, and by the way, you can't use this form right here for FHA or VA. It can only be used for people that are doing conventional loans. So probably a VA loan or an FHA loan is probably going to be, you'll see when we go through the offer process, may not be the most favorable offer in a multiple offer situation. Is Beth on here? Beth, are you on here? Let me just see if other questions. What is considered proof of funds? Are listing agents required to disclose if they have another offer? And also, are they required to disclose if asked by the buyer's agent? Okay, so are the listing agents required to disclose if they have another offer? You don't have to disclose if you have another offer. It's whatever your seller wants to do. But if you don't disclose that you have another offer and then somebody else asks you if you have another offer and you tell them yes, you've got to go back and tell everybody else the answer is yes. You can't pick and choose and decide who you're going to tell information to and who you're not going to tell information to. That will get you in a lot of trouble. What you tell to one person, you have to tell to everybody. That's why whenever I communicate on a multiple offer situation, I blind copy all the agents so that they are getting all the same email. I don't one-off it because I never want to be put in a position where I told somebody else something that I didn't tell everybody. A winning offer sometimes means a really clean and tight offer. And what I mean by clean and tight is all of those, you know, option period is a very short window with a lot of money, you know. The objections period is a short window. The finance days are a short window. It's very tight. We're not letting things, you know, take long periods of time. So price, great. As long as they can support the price that they're offering. Earnest money, are they putting down, you know, extra earnest money? That's always a good sign. What if they're putting down a lot of money and it's at risk? That's usually a good sign. Title company, you know, did they choose your preferred title company, or did they have a good reason why they didn't put your preferred title company in? Title policy, are they willing to pay for the title policy, or are they having the seller pay for it? Survey, are they asking for a new survey, or are they willing to pay for that themselves? Same with home warranty. Are they willing to buy their own home warranty? Closing date, is it a closing date that works for your clients? Do your clients need a lease back? Have they offered that? And then the option period. How much money are they really willing to risk during the option period? I've seen offers come in that were 5 days, and their option money, they were willing to put like $2,500 down. And what that says to me for my seller is, you know what, they really want this house. It would take an awful lot for them to walk away because they're willing to put that kind of money up, because they would lose it if they changed their mind, right? So all those little things are things that I would pay really close attention to. It's not always just about price. Then net sheets. So I use the Austin Title One app. San Antonio folks, I don't know who your title company is, but I'm sure that they have some sort of an app that you can actually create net sheets. But I go through each one of the offers that comes in before I meet with a seller, and I create a net sheet. And you can get this really, really close. You know, you can put in how much, if they asked for the home warranty, you know, how much, you know, where is the close date for them, and all of that. And I go ahead and I create a net sheet for every person, so that when I put all of these out on the table later, they're going to have their net, the close date, and I also I just write in earnest and option money. I just hand write it in on the bottom of each one of those sheets just to show them how strong additionally the offer is. But the two things that usually most sellers want to know is what's going to be their net and what's the close date. So those two things are right there on the net sheet. And then I always just add earnest money and option money, and the time of their option period on the bottom, so that I don't have to go hunting through that later. But net sheets are just a great way to, you know, put everything in there and have your sellers know exactly what their net is. And that can change because maybe there's somebody that offered full price, right? And they went ahead but they asked the seller to do all the customary things like pay for the title policy, and they asked for a home warranty and all of that. And the net came to $281,705. And then you might have somebody else that offered, so that was a full price offer, and they offered all that. So the net really comes down, you know, $3,000 or whatever, because the sellers are paying for all that. And then there may be somebody else that offered, you know, $5,000 less, but they're paying their own title policy. They didn't ask for a home warranty. They didn't do any, you know, they didn't ask for any extras. And guess what? the nets are exactly the same. So terms do make a difference. And when you're presenting to a seller, I don't let them get all hooked up on what I got to pay for the title policy. Well, let's just look at the net. Let's just look at the net and see where we're at, because all those terms have a effect on what the net will be. And you can figure it all out right here on one of those sheets. So net to seller and the close date, how much buyer risk they're putting down. So what is the earnest money and option money and the time frame? And then what I will normally do is I will make 3 stacks. I will put all my cash offers in one. I will put all my conventional offers in one, because I know on the conventional offers they can go ahead and use that that form, right, that says we'll bring all the extra money we need to the table if we've overbid. And I put FHA, VA, and USDA loans in another stack. And when I present those to my sellers, that's exactly the way they are on the table. And sometimes cash is king, but sometimes people that are paying cash go, well, I'm not going to offer full price. It's cash. We can close in 10 days. And if they want a cash done deal, they'll take a cash deal. So, you know, cash doesn't always win. And then the other thing is you're going to get a lot of those letters. You're going to get the letters because, you know, we have our buyers write the letters. And so also, it's good to let your people know that there's a lot of people that are pleading for their house. And do you want to read the letters, or do you want to just look at are you all about the bottom line? And each seller is different. So ask them what they want to do. Remember, it's always up to them, and then move forward from there. Let's see, what do I got here? I don't think but Beth is not on here, right? So let me see. Okay, should you suggest your seller equivalent? How much risk is a 5-day option period? Oh, a 5-day option period? That's great. 5 days. I love short. I love short. 200 to 500. Yeah, Nicole, $200 to $500 in option, that's fine. But I've had clients actually that have put $2,700. That's the most we've ever put in an option. They wanted it bad. They wanted the house, and we actually won because we had that much money in the option period. We weren't the highest. We just had the most money that we were willing to risk. How often are inspections an issue when it's only 5 days? Not very often. There's a lot of inspection companies. Let's see, Kurt, Christopher, are you in Austin? Or are you in San Antonio?
Yes, I'm in Austin.
Okay, there's quite a few companies that are getting out there really quick. TLC is one of them, and they do a really good, thorough job, and they can turn around an inspection in like 24 to 48 hours.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I have the app, but how do I create the net sheet? So is either really, really easy. Just get with your to create those net sheets. I mean, it's just a few clicks. You just have to play with it. And I would get with your Austin title rep, and they'll take you through the process and show you. But you just are going to hit the seller, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You'll see how you can just add all the numbers in there. And then how do you factor in the costs of title policy, survey, et cetera? Good question. So on title policy, there is actually a schedule, and I thought I had one right here. I keep one on my desk all the time. And you guys can ask the title company to send you one, and it shows you. I don't have it right here. It must be in my bag. I keep it in my folder. But it's a schedule, and you can just print it out, and it tells you how much the title policy is for varied dollar amounts. So it's real easy to get that. And then surveys, You can again just ask the title company, usually on a if it's not a specialty property, you know, if it's just in a development less, you know, half an acre, third of an acre, quarter of an acre with a house, those surveys don't really cost that much. They're all under about 600. They go up a lot if there's land involved. Can you also contact your owner for quick tutorial? Yep. Okay, I think that's all the questions that I have right now. Okay, so make those three piles and then get them out. That's how I present them to my sellers. So then it's time to negotiate, right? So you can pick. Before you go back and let everybody know, I would negotiate the offer that you want. Have your people decide which offer they want, and then go ahead and call that listing agent and negotiate it out. I negotiate everything out before I let all the other people go, right? Make sure that you have something executed and ready to go, and before you communicate back to everybody else. And some people will even negotiate a backup offer at that time too. And you can, or you can let everybody know you've picked and then see if anybody wants to be a backup. But whatever you do, remember, it's not what you do, it's what the seller wants you to do. And then you just communicate back to all the buyers again. And I think buyers and sellers need to appreciate that in a multiple offer situation, only one offer is going to result in a sale. The other buyers are going to be disappointed. Their offers weren't accepted. There's no getting around that. And while little to nothing can be done to kind of help with that disappointment, if you're fair and honest and you've communicated through the whole process, you know, just coupled with being prompt on all of that, it's just going to enhance your chances that all buyers, successful or not, are going to just feel that they were treated fairly and honestly. And that's really, really what you want at the end of the day, right? So you can let everybody know that you've chosen your offer, and then ask them if they want to, you know, be a backup offer. I want to take just a minute and talk to you a little bit about appraisals, because right now we're having some trouble. I don't know about in San Antonio, but in the Austin area, I've had a few agents. We've had some appraisal trouble. So once you get through your option period, guys, the best way to kind of help your sellers through the appraisal process too is take the lockbox off the door and change the instructions in MLS, if you're not already doing this, to contact agent. And that way they have to call you, and you actually know when the appraisal appointment and time is, and you can have an appraisal packet ready for them. You can meet them out at the house. You can put a copy of the contract in there. You could put in the comparables that you've used, a list of upgrades, just anything that supports your listed price, so that you make sure that you appraise to your listed price, even if they've bid above it. And then if I'm in a multiple offer situation, I will take the first page and the signature page of every additional offer, and I will put that all in that packet to give to the appraiser, so that the market just speaks. And I think that's really important, because as listing agents, we're not violating any rules to do that. We're the only ones that actually can talk to the appraiser. So make them get a hold of you and take it into your own hands to help the sellers get an appraised value that meets your listed price. I think that's really important. And don't let the job just kind of end with, yay, we picked an offer and now we're going through the process. Go out there and defend it, and meet the appraisers and keep doing the job. Does that make sense? Yeah.
That's a great idea, Tammy, about taking the first page and the last page of the other contracts. I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Hey, Tammy, can a buyer's agent meet with the appraiser to sort of to help build a case for the client that their over and above offer is worthy of appraising?
No. The appraiser is paid for by that lender, and their job, the lender's job, is to make sure that the buyers aren't overpaying. So they, their job is to get the best price, the most fair price. As the listing agent, you want to make sure you go defend and say, hey, it's worth this much money. The lender wants to lend the least amount of money. So the buyer's agent can't talk to the appraiser.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What was that about the first page or the, Renee, that was just, if I'm in a multiple offer situation, lots of times I'll put the first page and the signature page of each additional offer if I was in a multiple offer situation, and I give that to the appraiser as well as the one that we've accepted, just to show them that it's a really hot market and let the market speak, that there were a number of people willing to pay X amount of dollars for that property. Is there any info? Nope, you can share, as the listing agent, you can share any information with the appraiser that you want to.
Tammy, I have a question about that.
Yep.
But we shouldn't, it's not in the seller's best interest for us to share the inspection report or list of repairs requested. Yeah, okay.
No, I mean, you can just give them a copy of the contract, and
okay,
you're not going to ever share an inspection report. Actually been creating. Oh, look at you. Good job, Renee. Any other questions on any of that? All right, boom. Well, then you just make it to closing day. And, my little 3 favorite words, don't tell Jeff, he thinks they're I love you, is clear to close. Those are my favorite words in the whole world, clear to close. So anyway, just recapping, guys, it's just about communication, and you have to remember your sellers get to make the rules. Each seller is going to handle multiple offers differently, but treat everybody fairly. Make sure communication is really, really clear. Run through the different ways with them that they can actually approach multiple offers, and get that all on the table, and just take care of it all at the listing appointment or once you have the listing, because then you're not scurrying around and trying to get all this in a hurry. So that's all I got. If anybody has anything they want to add or something that worked for you, happy to have you share.
I've been using, Candy Cook came to the Westlake office. It was sometime last year, and she has this great, if you become on Facebook friends with her on, what is it, Cooked, her little Facebook group, she has a great files that shows like what to put in for an appraiser, because she's also a licensed appraiser. So she has like all these different things, and I go through the upgrades and everything that my sellers have done, and comparable to what the comparables have as well. And I've had to, out here in Bastrop, I've had to fight for my price, for the listing price. I've had to fight 3 different appraisers, and I've won. So make sure you have all your paperwork, and they'll listen. They're not all terrible people.
They will listen, and you can speak confidently if you've gone and looked at the other properties in person. That's what gives you the confidence to go meet these appraisers and take them on.
Exactly.
But you can't do it just from staring at comps in the MLS. You got to be a doer. You got to go look at the houses.
Absolutely.
Tammy.
Yep.
This is Tamara. I was wondering, when you're in the multiple offer situation and you've accepted one and you tell all of the others, you know, sorry, we've already accepted another offer. If they come back and ask you, you know, why did we lose out? Do you tell them, or is there information we're not, I mean, how do you handle that?
It's up to the seller whether they want to tell them why they lost.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Up to the seller.
Hey, Tammy.
So, hey,
Mhm.
Tammy, one question about the leaseback is during this time, you know, people want a lot of time really to get their stuff moved and everything. 90-day leaseback, is that something you see?
So you can't lease back longer than 90 days on that 2-page lease
Right.
back. So
Right.
90 days is the maximum, but what you have to ask, that's not a steadfast rule. You're going to have to check with the buyer's lender, because it may be only 60 days that the lender will allow a seller to lease back, because it states in their loan documents that they have to be an owner occupant within a certain amount of time. Otherwise, it's an investment property. And so it's really important to check with the buyer's lender. Some loans may have a 60-day, not a 90-day. So you wouldn't be able to go over 60.
Okay. But that's, so if 90 is acceptable with the lender, that's not something that's unheard of these days?
Nope, and it says that right on the 2-page lease back that it can be used up to 90 days.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Tammy, how does
Yep.
backup offer work? Do you have to submit earnest money and option fee if you're accepted as a backup?
You do. You have to do the option money to the seller. And by the way, you don't get the option money back. That is spent. That is sunk cost. You do get your earnest money back, but even if you never move into first place, your option money is gone. So lots of times, if that's going to happen, and I'm working with a buyer, which is probably a whole nother class, I will put in that, you know, we're going to pay you $10 or, you know, $25 up front right now. And if we ever move to give us the option to terminate if we need to, and up until we move into first place. And then if we ever move into first place, we'll pay that remaining amount, just so that they don't lose all of their option money.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Do you put that language in special provisions?
Mm-hmm.
You do. Oh, okay. So
And
you have to
and I can't put the language in there, but my buyers will write it in there. We can't play lawyer, but they can write it in there.
Okay. And then you would get acceptance from the seller as a backup.
Absolutely. It's executed just
It's
like.
executed. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tammy, when does a backup offer kick in? How does that work?
When the first one terminates.
And that happens automatically?
It will automatic. If you read the backup addendum, it says as soon as the first offer, if it would fall off, you become in first place again, and then your option period starts over, and that becomes the next day becomes day one, and then you get your inspections and do your negotiating of repairs and everything.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tammy,
Yes, sir.
could you share your language to a prospective buyer that asks you how you're going to handle a multiple offer type situation if it comes into contact?
For a buyer or a seller?
For the buyer.
So I guess I'm not quite sure what you're looking for there.
Well, when you're meeting with a prospective buyer and you're hoping to get them to sign an agreement so that you can represent them, and if they ask a question about, okay, it's a really tough market for a buyer, how are you going to handle that? Just the quick version.
Yeah, so number one, I did a class on that and it's actually under the videos, the training videos. So go watch that. That was a great class a couple weeks ago. But again, it's just setting expectations and letting them know that, hey, it's a hot market. Here are some of the conditions that I think will be helpful. We'll write a letter. There was a whole class. And
I'll go
then,
back and watch.
yeah, and then really set expectations up front, because the problem with that is just if they lose too many houses, they think you don't know what you're doing. And so it's really important to set expectations and educate them on the market, and that we could lose 3 houses, 4 houses, 5 houses. It has nothing to do with us other than other people are writing better offers.
Okay, expectations.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's all I got on multiple offers. If nobody has any additional questions on working with the sellers, I'm gonna sign off. Give you one more chance.
Thanks, Tammy. Appreciate you.
All right, I hope you got something helpful out of there.
Thank you.
Let me know if I can help. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all don't forget to do your top workplaces.